Personal injury lawyers spend insane money on Google Ads, and it can actually be one of the biggest gold mines for your law firm if you run it correctly. When CPCs, depending on what area you live in, can be upwards of $250, it is extremely easy to leave money on the table or waste money. So in this video, I'm gonna show you the best way, the most profitable way that you can set up Google Ads correctly for a personal injury law firm. And I'm even gonna get into some more specifics about, specific like slip and fall, dog bite, misdiagnosis, etc., and personal injury as a whole to kind of show you some cost per click hacks to help you save some money on these clicks. Use more, specific location, targeting, using longer tail keywords, etc. And then at the very end of this, once you have the best setup for your Google Ads account and you're ready to get going, I'm going to go through some extensive expert knowledge that I have picked up along the way in auditing several accounts for law firms to show you some of the most hidden potential that so many people waste so much money on. So at the end of this video, you can make sure that you are not wasting any money and you have your Google Ads set up the best way possible. And hopefully this is going to help you beat, a ton of competitors around you and make sure that you have more spend at the end of the day to always be getting those best clicks. So my name is John Eberhard. I have done Google Ads work for over 100 brands in all industries. And I've just recently been starting to tap more into law firms, and it is a ton of fun. And this is a really big game. So I'm really excited to get into it. Running Google Ads on your own can literally be a full-time job. And I know a lot of you guys are so busy in court and doing everything else to make your firm grow. So you do not have the time to do this correctly. This video will help you get it set up and you can click enable and you can start spending right away. But if you truly want this to be a gold mine, like it is for a lot of other competing law firms in your area, then you need someone who is a professional and does this full-time for you to optimize for the best results. So I would love to run your Google Ads for you. If you go into the description of this video, the first link I have takes you to the contact page of my website. And as long as I am not, recording a video like this, talking to a client or sleeping, then I will call you back personally within 5 minutes and we can see what we can do to get you dominating your area for personal injury law or any other Google Ads need. All right, so getting into it, when you log into Google Ads, this is what's gonna look like when you first open up your overview. You're probably not gonna have any numbers here because you're probably not running Google Ads already, of course, but I'm running some retargeting YouTube ads. So if you're watching this video, you're probably gonna see my beautiful face everywhere. So lucky you. No, I'm just kidding. But basically when you get here, there are several different ways that you can start a campaign. It's all the same. So you can click here, you can go here, you can go into campaigns, etc. It doesn't matter. But let's go ahead and start with a campaign because the most important thing for you is going to be learning how to master a search campaign. So there are several different types of campaign types inside Google Ads. They're all fit for different business types. Going up market or going up in the marketing funnel, etc. They're all going to have their own use, but for personal injury law, you're going to want to really be spending most of your money into a search campaign, or of course, several search campaigns. But you get what I'm saying. I'll talk about some of those in the future and how they can help at the end when I'm giving you those big industry secrets. So starting off, of course, you're going to want to be going for leads as you would think. But if you're in a brand new Google Ad account, you've never run any ads for your company before, your Google Ad account is completely empty, then you're actually going to want to go for website traffic. So Google cannot correctly, bring you leads or find the demographics and interests of people who would be a lead if there is no data in the account. So we're going to go ahead and start with website traffic. As you get conversions and as you get leads, you can always change this. But for now, we're going to start with website traffic, pretending that you are completely brand new. All right, so going down, you're going to see what's called conversion tracking. So this is just making sure that when someone calls or clicks to call on the website, calls from the ads, or they fill out, a lead form or any kind of contact form on your website, you want that being tracked accurately. This is what's going to help you make all the decisions in your account. You cannot mess this up. I see so many people who have like a contact loading page be their conversion event. You cannot have that. You have to actually have it be accurate because this is what's going to be driving all your decisions as we want to optimize for conversions. People actually filling out the form and calling, not just clicks, especially with how expensive your clicks can be. So it's really important. This video is not going to go over that. That's a whole science. If you pay me to run your Google Ads, I will include this, of course, in my services and do this for you, but this is a nightmare. I'm just going to be honest. So let's go ahead and go to continue. Move past that for now. You're going to want to go to search campaign. And then the next thing is just going to say, select the ways you want to reach your goal. Just go ahead and put in your business website. The main reason why it does this is because Google wants to give you all their crappy recommendations, to be honest. But it's part of what you have to do. So I'm just picking this random law firm in Austin, Texas. Probably tell by the cactus, I'm not in Texas. This is not someone I work with or anything. So I just found a random decent personal injury law firm website. So we're just gonna pretend we're these guys for now. Let's go ahead and continue. Now the campaign name is totally gonna be for your your sake, right? This naming convention is only internal. So just name it what you want. But I always like to go for, web traffic. We want to include like the marketing objective. First, we're going to be going for clicks. I'll show you that in a second. But then if you're going to be breaking in your campaigns by, specifically what exact, niche keywords inside personal injury, like I mentioned, like dog bite, medical malpractice, misdiagnosis, even though that stuff can kind of be its own niche, or like hit by a car or hit and run, traffic accident, etc. Depending on how you want to split up your ads and what specific things you want to run ads to, that can be up to you and what your campaign is for. But let's just say that you are a catch-all personal injury attorney, like these guys, where they do everything. They do vehicle accidents, they have motorcycle, all this other stuff, tons of personal injury in here. Again, like I mentioned, like the slip and fall, the wrongful death, etc. But let's just say that we're going to be running ads to all of that in general, and we're really just going to be focusing on personal injury itself and be leading people to this page, which I also don't recommend, but I'm going to talk about that at the end of this video. Like I mentioned, we're just going to go ahead and let's just do catch-all personal injury, just so we know. And then I'm going to put my agency name here just so I can keep track of the stuff that I'm doing, of course. But this is what a good campaign would look like. One thing I forgot here is to make sure that you're talking about your specific location. So let's say we're just going to do Scottsdale. So there we go. Let's go ahead and move on. Start new. So now this is like your bidding. This is actually how you participate in the Google Ads click auction. So of course you're going to think conversions, but this is what I mentioned in that campaign name. You're actually going to want to go to clicks because again, we don't have any data on who converters are. So we're going to go with clicks. You can ignore everything else. Go ahead and go to next. For here, you're going to want to turn both these off. I could talk about this forever. But basically, long story short, we don't want to be spending any ad space or wasting any clicks on, being on Google's display network where we're showing up on the sides of websites and being on YouTube. We also don't really want our ads being shown on random websites like dogpile.co. It's funny, but that is actually one of Google partner websites. We don't need to be on any of those search partners. So we're okay on that. This is a really good way for Google to make sure that your money is always getting spent. But one of the biggest, intelligence or I guess experience gaps in this industry for running Google Ads for personal injury is, making sure that every single dollar is going to the best spot possible. So all these little decisions add up and will help you beat your competitors. So let's keep going. Going down to locations, here's another big one. Always make this presence. People in or regularly in our location or included areas. You don't want any people who are, thinking about the area or have visited there or looked it up or shown interest. We want people who are in our spot. And then always for choosing locations, I always go to enter another location. I always go to the advanced search and pull up this little map. So here's a couple tricks you can do. So I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona. Something I'm talking about at the end of this, but I know I've mentioned it already when we, talked about where we're going to be advertising for. But basically, you are going to have more success and you're going to have more control of your ads and your ad budget and where your money's being spent if you are more narrowed in, more niched down, especially when it comes to a geographical area. So if you're going to choose all Phoenix, like let's just go ahead and choose this. Oh, that chose the whole state. Okay, basically the whole state. Now what we need, let's just go ahead and go to, I want to do, like the Phoenix metro area. So, okay, this is good enough. But like, let's just say that you're doing the entire valley, right? Which would be covering Glendale, make sure all Scottsdale, Tempe, Mesa, Gilbert, Chandler, etc. If you're doing all that, your ads are not going to be able to be very, geographically focused. And then your ads are going to be shown everywhere. But when it comes down to, where your money is getting spent, your money is going to spend where there's the most volume, whether that's the best, cost per lead or the best area for you to be investing in terms of an ROI. It's going to be spending at a click level. So wherever the volume is. So if you're going to be advertising in a place like Phoenix, but also Scottsdale and Mesa, most of your budget is going to get spent here due to the sheer volume. So that's why, depending on your budget, it's really, really important to be very geographically specific, because if you're wasting money on clicks that weren't the best, that can lead up to thousands and thousands of dollars a month very, very quickly. So it's very important. So let's just say that we're just going to do Scottsdale. So the little example in here. But when you click on Scottsdale, this also shows up here in the Cave Creek area. If you're not familiar with Arizona, let me educate you real quick. Let's say during a busy time of day, Cave Creek in Old Town Scottsdale is like an hour drive. Okay, that's a very, very big, target area. So what I would do and what I like to do is you need to be having, different campaigns. So as you can see, this location setting is at a campaign level. So same with your budget. So I would make all of your campaigns very geographically themed to target specific pockets. And then what you can do is then you can look at the data of locations and see how much clicks are in different areas, because the different geographical area that you're advertising in has a big big effect on the actual cost per click itself. So for this sake, we're just going to do Scottsdale, and I'm just going to kind of make my own area. And of course, wherever wherever you are practicing law, you know your area really well, and there's going to be areas that you want to avoid. So instead of just doing a catch-all and clicking on a specific city and just filling in all of it, go ahead and click on Show All Areas and zoom in a little bit, and then you can specifically click on neighborhoods and zip codes. And this is the way that I would dress this up and make sure that you're choosing specific areas, right? So like for instance, Paradise Valley. Okay, there's a good amount of money in Paradise Valley. We want to go ahead and include that. But maybe we don't want to include, anywhere over here for whatever reason, right? So you can build your own targeting, but I would really keep it more city and more neighborhood or just like area specific for your sake. So I'm not going to do a full build out, but that's just an example. And then what I like to do too is I always like to make sure we're excluding. So because I'm in Arizona, I'm really close to Mexico. I always just exclude that. You can even exclude California. And then you really don't want to, you want to make sure you're not getting any spam. You want to remove all chances of spam possible. So let's just go ahead and remove those. I remove China, Mexico, India, Pakistan, just to make sure that we're removing all chances of spam and irrelevant traffic. You can even remove Canada too. But that's just my thing. So go ahead and click save. Now let's keep moving here. English, of course, unless, if you take Spanish leads like these guys do, it seems like right here, hablamos español, means they speak Spanish. So if you do that as well, then go ahead and include Spanish. Or if you want to focus on just English leads, that is totally up to you in how you would like to do it. Moving forward, make sure broad match keywords are off, which they are by default right here, just because of our bidding strategy. And then automatically created assets. Please make sure you turn this off. Google is really moving towards their AI Max, Performance Max campaigns, their broad, targeting, broad match keywords. They're awful. It's a really, really, really good way for you to spend money, which is, great. That's what they want. But if you really want to be dominating and putting all your money in the best spots possible, you're going to need all the control possible. You don't want Google doing anything for you. Trust me. So you don't want them, giving people or delivering people to random pages on your website or using random ads or, customizing anything, especially when it comes to, any kind of litigation or especially medical. You don't want, Google making up claims or, writing your headlines, because that can be very specific, especially if there's any kind of trademark or medical or guarantee or anything like that. You want all of the control. So here, well, you always want that these are going to be set here automatically, but you always want to make sure that your best or your best performing ads are always going to be top of the rotation. You can keep the actual ad schedule on however you'd like. For you guys, it's not that big of a deal. I would just keep it running all the time, unless you notice that you're getting a ton of clicks and not a lot of leads, like 2 a.m. That's obviously a big red flag. So if you want to really, really from the very beginning, make sure you're not wasting any, I would just go ahead and adjust this schedule and make sure you're only showing ads from, like 5 a.m. to like midnight, just to make sure you're not spending any money at times where it's not converting, but it also could be converting at that time. So that's why I wouldn't cut that off right away, but you'll be able to see with data really quickly. So go ahead and click next. This right here, when we put in our website earlier, this is where Google's like, hey, we're going to go ahead and we're going to generate your keywords. We're going to make your ads for you. We're going to make your description. Absolutely not. We're going to go ahead and click skip. We don't want them to do anything with that. So this right here, how this works is your campaign is like your umbrella. So you have the campaign, which has your budget, your locations, your bidding strategy, your marketing objective. And then inside that, you have ad groups. And each ad group is you have your keywords attached to each ad group, which then influences what ads people will see, etc. So you can have as many ad groups as you want. But again, kind of like the location thing, is depending on where you're advertising, your money is going to be, or I guess 1 or 2 ad groups are going to hog all of your budget, depending on your keywords, right? So for instance, personal injury lawyer Austin has a lot more searches than dog bite attorney Austin, a lot more, right? So if you have just a dog bite keyword category ad group and a personal injury lawyer ad group inside the same campaign, I guarantee you that dog bite ad group won't even see a lick of $1 spend towards it, because you have these competing for that same spend, which is at a campaign level. So I hope that makes sense. So you have to take that into consideration as well. So there's a lot of strategic ways to go around this. But basically what I'm going to do, just for the sake of this video, is I'm just going to make one of these with you. And what we'll do is we will just target specifically personal injury, just to keep it simple. But again, at the end of this video, I'm going to show you some of those tactics to save as much money, and the best way to really set this up if you're really spending. But I'm just going to teach you how, because this video is a how-to in case no one knows how. So let's just go. Let's just do personal. I guess we could just say PI. Let's do PI. And let's just say Scottsdale. So let's just purely, I guess we can do Austin, but I already have it set up, so I'm looking at personal injury just in the whole Phoenix area. So this is just to help you. So there are 3 different types of keywords. So there are phrase, there are exact, and there are broad match. So all of this comes into play on how much you're going to be paying for this cost per click, and then what searches will be triggering your keywords in order for people to see your ads when they're searching stuff on Google. So exact match are typically the most expensive because it's exactly that. So someone has to look up exactly what your keyword is. Like someone had to look up exactly, personal injury attorney. Geez, I can't type. Attorney Scottsdale. Someone have to look this exact thing up for this, keyword to be triggered for someone to see your ad. A phrase match looks like this, and that means where someone would have to include this phrase in their search. So let's say that someone's search was actually this, but it was this. So someone looked up personal injury attorney Scottsdale near me, then this keyword would get triggered because this whole phrase is still in that search. And then broad match is just with no parameters, and it just looks like this. And basically what that means is Google will take any single one of these words and it will, be triggered. So if someone looks up anything related to personal or the word injury or the word attorney or even potentially the word Scottsdale, your ads, risk being triggered. So you can save money by using broad match keywords, but it's because they are opening you up to a ton more impressions. But remember, you pay per click. So the people that are seeing your ads are what's called impressions. But if the right people aren't seeing your ads, but for whatever reason, they're still clicking because people don't know, or they look something up and they see the top links, they assume that's what they're looking for and they click it. And they realize it's not, so they back out. That Google is still going to charge you. So if you're going to use these broad match keywords, you have to be on top of the negative search terms like it's no one's business. And if you don't know what a negative keyword is, then I would suggest that you watch the end of this video, because I'm going to, be telling you guys about these negative keywords, but it's basically words that you don't want triggering these keywords. So for instance, you always want to do like DIY or cost or cheap or free, potentially, stuff like that. So just to get rid of all that. But there's so many different searches that could be propped up from when someone looks up, something like this to grab this. So my suggestion is always going to be doing a quick combination of honestly phrase match keywords with very few exact match keywords. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go ahead and show you. So I've already done, I guess, the Google search, or not the Google search, but the keyword research search for a personal injury lawyer, and I have my location set to Phoenix. I use a third-party tool for this, but see, this is going to help you see all of these prices. So for instance, this is an estimate too, by the way, because again, it also depends on, time of day. It also depends on what type of keyword. It depends on your specific location inside of Phoenix, because I did the Phoenix metro area, so that includes all the cities around it. But just for, the sake of this video, for showing you how I wanted to keep it kind of simple. But again, this is always an estimate. But notice how this is cheaper than this. So when someone looks up, personal injury lawyer, let's say this was a phrase match. But if someone looked up personal injury lawyer near me, that would trigger this. But this keyword is actually more expensive. So we want to make sure that this is a exact match. So let's do personal injury lawyer. And let's make this exact match. Boom. Oops. Personal injury lawyer. Boom. Okay, now this is exact match. And then let's see what else we have here. So injury lawyer, all these can be included. I would honestly just include, let's just type in injury lawyer and see how much that costs. Basically, all this is going to do is you're just going to have to be doing a lot of playing around with it. Okay, so this is even still cheaper than injury lawyer near me. Okay, so we're kind of finding a trend here. So instead of just, opening up to everything, we're really seeing here kind of not like some loopholes, but we're just seeing like, wow, like these are already half the cost. Or workman comp, okay, this is a whole different thing, but look how much, cheaper. These can be. Personal injury attorney is only $131. So let's go ahead and do that. Personal injury attorney. And usually when it comes to most businesses like local home service, I'm honestly using a lot more phrase match. But when it comes to having the difference in the cost per click from, $300 to $200, that's a 50%, difference. So you have to be very, very particular here. Lawyer for personal injury, $202, right? So just go ahead and just get a feel for these. Personal injury attorney, that's like our cheapest one. Again, like you're going to see a ton of these. And as you can see, like a lot of these are very niche, right? They're inside the niche of personal injury like motorcycle, auto accident, right? Workman's comp, etc. I know that's a lot different, but look how affordable that one is. Work injury, right? Okay, here we go. Work injury. So I'm going to let you do the rest of this keyword search for yourself just to figure out what you want to use. But of course, you want to make sure that you're using the cheapest, but you want to make sure that you're using, search terms that have, a lot of volume. But, none of these have any problem. So if you're even spending, upwards of 10, 20, 30,000 a month with cost per click like this, you're not going to have any issue making sure you get your number of spend. But part of what I want to talk about at the end of this video is making sure that you have a specific ad group and ideally a specific landing page for each of their very specific parts of law that you want to advertise for. So these guys, they have a catch-all personal injury page, which is going to encompass, someone just looking at personal injury who might be coming for any one of the reasons of slip and fall, auto, dog bite, misdiagnosis, hit by a car, hit and run, workman's comp, whatever it may be, right? Potentially. A workman's comp is different, but as we saw, it got brought up when we looked up injury. So just keep that in mind as well. But what it's going to be best for you to do is to separate these ad groups by each of these, parts of law, and then having a specific page for these. So for instance, this law firm here they don't just do slip and fall, but they have a specific page for it. So what also determines this cost per click is your your keyword quality score. So basically, how congruent is your landing page and what your business actually does with what you're advertising. So you get you get the benefit of that. You will save some money by having a higher quality score and having that congruency. So having a specific page just for slip and fall will actually increase your quality score and will actually help you save some money and help you bid in that auction for cheaper. So that's why, depending what you want to do, is I would really make sure, like, hey, if you're going to be doing medical malpractice, you need to have a medical malpractice page. Not only is it going to help you save that money, like I said, with the quality score, but it's also going to be a lot more direct and it's a lot more trusting to the people that are, looking up, the medical malpractice. It's more direct. It's exactly what they were looking for. And I love how these guys include images, and you see the lawyer, you see a lot of high quality images, etc. But we'll get to that. But that's basically why I just wanted to include that. So I'm going to let you do the rest of the research here for yourself, putting all this stuff together. There's a lot of options. There's a lot of ways you can, combine all this and influence how much you're going to be paying per cost per click and how to make sure you stay on this. So let's just keep this for now. So what I'm going to do is, remember, you want to have a specific page for this, but these guys, for what we're talking about, they're running it right to their homepage, which their whole law firm is about personal injury. So we'll leave it at that. This display path right here is just what's shown after this slash. Right now, it doesn't really do anything besides just, kind of show, where people might be going, like some kind of display path. But in the future, Google has talked about wanting to use this almost as another form of targeting. So just go ahead and just put anything you want here. It's not very much. I always just like to fill out every single thing I can. You want to have the highest, having a ad strength does help a lot, especially with Google's algorithm, and also making sure that you have all the assets in this thing that I'm going to show you because this is an ad, right? So now we're getting to the ad part, but making sure that every single thing for this ad is filled out. You want to make sure you're taking the most digital real estate up. You want to make sure that you have, just the most assets, because that's just going to make you guys look the most professional. If someone doesn't have images and they don't have a logo and they don't have a business name, but you do, and you have all this other stuff and you've got site links, you're going to stand out way better. And it's going to, you're likely going to have people click on your ads and convert better because they trust you and you just have more professional advertising assets. So put anything you want here. Let's just do best. It has to be best PI firm. I know that kind of looks silly. You can make it in Austin. I know we're talking about right now Phoenix, but these guys are in Austin. So just for fun, just something like that. Now it comes down to your headlines. So Google Ads is always going to use 2 headlines for the most part, unless they are really, really small, they'll use 3, but you have a 30 character limit here. So what I like to do is, of course, you want to have, again, as much congruency on your landing page in your ads as possible. So what I like to do here is I always like to I guess I should say here, let me try this over. What I like to do is I like to use 5, or maybe it's, I don't even know how many it is right now, 4 or 5 different elements when I'm writing ad copy. So I like to write ad copy that has some emotional copy, offer-based copy, expertise-based, and local for the most part. So like the area you're talking about. So I guess that's 4. So like for instance right here, so these are some that Google just generated based off of the page that we showed them. But like 40 years of experience, that's a really good one. That one shows expertise, right? This one's just a name, so that's fine. Contact us today is like call to action, right? Same thing with get a free consult, schedule a free consult. Stuff like that is really good. But again, you really want to use a mixture. Something that I never see on people's landing pages or websites, or something that Google will never give you, is that emotional, right? So right now, put yourself in the mind, in the eyes of one of these people who is frantically having something happening in their life. They need a solution. They need a personal injury lawyer. What are they wanting to get out of hiring you? They want to win the case, or a combination of wanting to win the case and maybe not having enough money to pay up front, so they want some kind of guarantee, or pay if you win, etc. So think about all that and make sure you put that in here as well. But let's just go ahead and crawl this page and see what we can find. Okay, so here's some. I'm just going to throw some examples at you. I'm not going to write all these in here just for the sake of time, but I will put enough just to be able to move forward. But for instance, here are some good stuff right here. Call for a free case evaluation. Helping injured clients in Austin, Central Texas. Mentioning that you speak Spanish is also good too. But if what you want to make sure that you would have included that Spanish language. And if you want to really just have specific campaigns for English and Spanish or ad groups, I would recommend that anyway. So maybe don't mix this the thing of we speak Spanish, because if you're targeting people to speak English, that's kind of irrelevant. You want as highly relevant copy as possible. This is a good one right here. Helping the injured get justice. That's a nice line. Over 300 plus 5-star reviews. Ooh, here's another one. $500 million plus recovered for clients in Texas. That's good. Available 24/7. Undefeated in Texas. Here we go. That's a good one too. Let's see. There's lots of good stuff here. So we've already gone through a good amount. Do not hesitate to contact us. That's okay. And then also just kind of coming down to here to the bottom, like these results are big. I like these on page as well, but you can kind of see what I'm getting at. There's usually just tons of copy on the page. You can also use ChatGPT. But again, I would use those 4 elements and include all 4 of those into when you are making these actual headlines and whatnot. Make sure you include, all of those variations. So kind of going down here, you have descriptions, which is, very relatively similar. It's just going to be right here. Again, use everything as well. These are 90 characters. So this will actually help you, include more stuff inside of these descriptions just because they're longer. So you can kind of give more specific information. So going down here, images. Your images are what's going to be right next to your ad. Oops. Like right here to the right, you've probably seen them. It always helps to have, images. I would use images because the biggest thing here is going to be trust. Am I going to be, is this the right law firm for what I need? You want to bridge that gap of trust. So on your website and on your ads, have as much images of your team and your location, your people, your office as possible, because you want to familiarize, this audience with your stuff. So make sure you always have images here. Go ahead and add those right here. I'm not going to have mine in here, but I want to show you what it would look like. You just go ahead and load them in here, go ahead and upload them, etc. Going down, you really want to make sure you have your business name. If you do not put your business name, what it's going to happen is when someone sees your ads, it's going to look just like this. It's just going to have your website.com, like your domain. That looks okay, but it's way more professional when someone has their business name here that's capitalized, and it's space, and it looks good. So remember, having all these assets is very, very important. So same thing with having your logo right here. You've probably seen some people who don't have a logo, and it's just like this weird, little circle, gray circle. Also looks unprofessional. And the combination of not having a business name and the business logo looks terrible. So you need to have those. Site links. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to show you. Let's just go to Scottsdale Slip and Fall. So let's do some, let's look at some other people's ads, right? These are, those are local service ads. These are ads right here. So see these guys, they just have their URL right here. And these are what are called site links right here. So you see how much digital real estate this takes up? Google has been going back and forth with putting those site links under people's websites going horizontally, but in the past, and what they still do sometimes is they go vertically. Look at how much more space this takes up. His ad is right here, and then his site links are here. So if you can have this come up every time, you're going to be showing the most skin. You have the most digital real estate. So you want to add these, and basically what they are is you want to use these as links that reinforce people to what they were looking for and other, ways to be able to choose you. So right now, they talk about car accidents. I wouldn't have this call one in there. Verdicts and settlements is good. Practice area, cases we've won, learn about our team, etc. Let's see what we can find from these guys, right? An area served is a good one. Contact us is okay. They should really honestly have specific pages for look how much money we've won for clients, how much money recovered, having just stuff like that. Because what you want to do is you want to use these as just little pieces of trust you want to just encourage the click and use these as assets to help with that. So always make sure you have as many as you can there. Tons of other options as well. Like for instance, for my Google Ads agency, let's just look at some of the ones I have here. Like these are automatically generated from the link we gave them, but like practice areas, video center, blog center, about us, those are okay. These are all pretty selfish though, like little stuff. You want to give stuff that like people want, right? Like, so for example, I've done stuff, made videos like this for other companies, so you're gonna see a lot of stuff in here too, but like a free audit, photo gallery, stuff like that, free Google Ads audit, like any way you can incorporate that kind of stuff to you, like again, like the settlements, the free, basically draw people to, having them trust you more. So moving on, these call outs, these are just little tiny one-liners under your description. I didn't see any in this Google search right away. When I looked, let me just scroll real quick. So they're, oh, no, these are not it. They look like this though. They're basically just like these little blue hyperlink, like one-offs that are just like under people's descriptions. Wow, I don't see any. But I'll kind of show you what they look like. Just like little one-liners, right? So like, let's say, so of course these are for me, for my business, but like they're little one-liners here. So again, just more little trust signals, little stuff like that. I like to have like very like authoritative ones here. Partner with EMMA, top Google Ads agency, stand out in Arizona, book your free intro call, boost your sales, maximize your ROI. Like little, just like strong, authoritative, superior little one-liners. So add those in there. And then more asset types. You're not gonna have any promotions or prices. Don't put that there. Always put your phone number there though. You want people to be able to call you right away from the ad. Those are usually really, really, really high intent leads. Other than that, if you have, any kind of like specific location, in here is where you can also, add your actual location, like for your Google My Business profile, all that stuff as well. Shouldn't need anything in here, but that is it. That is how you would create your first ad group in one ad. I always recommend that you have at least 2 ads per ad group, just to, mix it around, and then you'll be able to see in your assets tab of like, okay, what headlines are driving the most traffic? Which ones are the best? Which are people using the most? Of course, Google will automatically optimize to show people, those winning assets, but it's always good to see, okay, what are people resonating with? That's going to help you build stronger and better ads in the future. So when you click next, oh, wow, Google wants me to spend $8,000 a day. That's the recommended budget, I'm sure. So of course, Google is going to charge you. It doesn't charge you at a daily. It charges you when you get to a certain threshold, but your budget is typically per day. So, do the math on how much you want to spend. And put that in there as a daily budget. So if you want to spend $10,000 a day, that's $333. Or I'm sorry, if you want to spend $10,000 a month, that's $333 a day. So go from there. But that is everything on how to actually create the campaign itself. And then some of those things that I mentioned at the end that I told you guys I wanted to give you some more of those like industry secrets. Find some other stuff that's going to really help you stand out. Now that you've made your first campaign, you got one ad group, you got one ad, you kind of have, an understanding of what kind of keywords you should have. Now I want to be able to help you. Okay, what are those things that I've found and that I've uncovered that I can tell you that's going to help you get an edge on your competitors and make sure that you're spending all this money in the best spot possible. So I have some notes here on my other monitor, but basically what I'm going to go through is ultra precise local targeting and search term control. So again, basically what underperformers are going to do is they're going to be running those broad match keywords. They're going to be targeting entire states, or like I said, those big metro areas, and there's just no control. You need everything to be at a local basis. These guys are also not using those negative keywords correctly, like I told you. So basically what you want to do is if you just go, I'm just going to discard this whole thing because, of course, I'm not running this campaign. But if you go right here, because my campaigns are not search campaigns, because I'm running YouTube ads, you'll see one here called search terms. You can see what people are looking up exactly. So you need to be really, really controlling those and getting rid of and putting negatives of all unrelated traffic. You want the highest intent traffic possible. So basically you need a lot of stuff like that. And basically what you need to do is some of those wasted clicks look like job seekers or people searching for like law school or someone looking up like how to sue my landlord. This is different, but here's an example, like the local service industry. I see a lot of like how-tos or a lot of like Home Depot guys or cost or free or DIY. So basically use that in your mind of like what you should be doing for a personal injury lawyer. And just make a negative keyword list, right? You come down here, you won't see it again because I'm not on search campaigns, but you go to keywords and make a negative keyword list and attach it to your campaign right away or specific ad groups right away, just so you can just start on a good slate. So that's what all that stuff is what underperformers do for that. But what top performers do is we're going to have a hyper local campaigns, like I said, literally by city or neighborhood and using very, very tight keyword matches. So having those phrase and exact match only, and using an ad group like I showed you that only has like a couple keywords in it, because those 2 keywords in that example, I know I was going to build out more, but for the sake of video, I just did 2. Those 2 searches are several thousand searches a month, and they were the cheapest ones I found. So depending on what you're going for, what your goal is, you don't need a ton of keywords. And especially if you can be saving, 60% on those select keywords, wouldn't you rather spend your money there, especially if you're spending less than 10 grand a month? That's my thoughts, at least. Also, you need to have you need to layer your geo specific keywords. So like best car accident lawyer in city instead of just car accident lawyer. Those longer, more specific, they're called long tail keywords, will almost always be cheaper. But as we saw right here, they actually may not specifically have been when we did the keyword research, because a lot of people are also getting onto this and they're being hyper local too. So you can almost play the other side now. So again, you just have to do your due diligence here. You need to be constantly looking at your search terms, making negative keywords. I would literally be looking every single day, multiple times a day. Also, a big thing here too is when it comes down to like the website, one of the biggest things is website. When someone comes to me and wants to work with me, the first thing I do is I look at their website, and if it's complete garbage, I'm like, hey, we're gonna need to make you a new site, or at least a new landing page, which I do for every single client pretty much anyways. And if they say no, then I just don't work with them, because I know that it's gonna be like pulling teeth. Okay, if you're paying for the click, now it's up to your website, it's up to your assets, it's up to everything to see if that person converts. You've already paid for the click. So the higher conversion rate you can get, the more money you will make at no extra cost. So having a good website like this goes good. Like this is a solid website. This is not bad at all. I could see this going really well. People have specific pages here. This is a little too, textful. There's also no images. There's no results. I would like, if this is something that I'm going to be doing, I personally would like to see images of the team. And I like the proof. I like this, this is very authoritative. This almost looks like a news article. Stuff like that is really good. These are all stock photos. But these right here, these are really good. These are more just like authoritative, like symbols, right? Like they work with super lawyers or board certified, whatever. No upfront cost, etc. Image of the attorney, some more information, some more images. These are all stock images. Even this looks nice. Like imagine if this website had something like this that takes up the full screen. Oops, shoot. Instead of what they had, right? Like all this stuff can go a long way. If this is the difference between 2% conversion rate, that's a ton, and that's just one asset. So you need to have the highest conversion rate you can get. Like look at this little thing. No win, no fee. That would make a great headline as well. 100% free case evaluation. All this stuff is really, really good. Okay, so you need to have, so basically what the poor performers do in terms of website and conversion rate optimization is they send all traffic to the homepage or just generic practice area pages. They don't have any dedicated landing pages for specific areas of what they're targeting for. They don't have any like click to call buttons above the fold, right? Honestly, in my opinion, this is down here pretty low. I would have that much higher. I would quite literally have that probably like right here and have everything else. There's also, of course, you can call here, so that's good. But making sure there's a place to call and someone to fill out the form right away is what I would have. And long forms are a bit intimidating. That kind of makes it a like an obligation, like now you've officially taken action. So try and make this easy and less scary as possible. So what the top performers do in this is they're going to be using those specific pages, like for car accident, for slip and fall. They're going to have a very clear call to action, like 24/7 free consultations, or what these guys have down here, no win, no fee. Like I would be putting this box everywhere, and I want that to be recognized. I like how people can also click the phone number here. 24/7 live chat or intake forms are big. Those are going to be good just for picking up any kind of traction. You need to make sure that your mobile optimization is good. A lot of people are doing Google searches on their phone. A lot, more than 50% in almost any campaign or any industry that I run in. So you need to make sure your website looks good on a tiny device, because this looks really good on a computer. But a lot of people will be on their phones. That's also why the calling is nice. And then again, too, trust elements. Like I mentioned, these right here, these are like trust elements, just showing stuff like that, right? So all that stuff is going to help. Or like showing, like, if you sponsor your local NBA team and stuff, like having all that stuff that just shows that you guys are the ones in town, you guys spend the money, you have the brand awareness, you have the trust, all that stuff helps a lot. So trust elements, awards, verdicts won, reviews, bar association logos. These guys down here, remember they have their injury case results, sharing case studies like this, etc. All helps a ton. And then now going down to like intake process, lead quality control. Underperformers are they're going to be counting any time that someone fills out this form, we're going to go, sweet, I got you a lead. then they're going to be doing the math, or they're going to look at their cost per conversion and go, hey, we got you leads for this much. Even if it's spam or even if it's an unqualified lead. Poor performers are also not tracking calls correctly. You need to be seeing which campaigns are driving good cases, not just cases, but good. Okay, so that's why it's important to almost have like a different number for a different page or for a different campaign, or using something like CallRail where you can see, okay, what keyword brought these people in, because then a good person is also listening to the phone calls. When I do this for my clients, I listen to every single phone call. So I'm like, okay, so now I know what keywords are not only driving calls, but the highest quality. And that's not a metric that you can really optimize for on Google, and your keyword research and whatnot. It's not going to help you with that. But instead, you actually have to, do like, this is first party data. Okay, this is first party data, seeing where all this is coming from. So that's a big thing as well. I kind of just put those all together, like what underperformers do and then what someone like I do, a top performer. Basically, all that, and then kind of bringing it down. Like there's no set and forget. If you've ever heard that term before, forget it. Because if you set and forget, you are screwed. There's too much to this. You need to be using, some people might just use like a manual cost per click bid limit strategy and just kind of like leave it. Or, budget might be too low and they're capping themselves. You're just getting terrible data, or people just aren't experimenting and just going after it. But what you need to be doing is you need to be testing like also smart bidding, going for max conversions, listening to the phone calls, choosing the keywords strategically, watching all those, having ad groups with very few keywords that you have on your site to get the quality score high, instead of just putting a bunch of crap in there. You need to, like, hey, we're going to focus on these 2 keywords that are going to, we're going to be available for 5,000 searches a month. Do the math, we can get X amount of clicks, but we want our best shot at that. So that's what the landing page should be about, etc. And then always constantly just testing stuff and seeing, what's going. So you also got to understand that big enough budgets are what it takes to dominate the very top slot. So you have to be selective. So if you don't have that $1 million a month budget, that's okay. Because if you do everything correctly and you put all your money into 1 or 2 keywords, and maybe at a certain time of day, like let's say by 6 p.m. when normal people are off of work, this is when they might be looking during the week to find something like this. Most people are working during the day. They're not going to necessarily be looking at this at work. Maybe they will, but everyone else, I guarantee you, everyone else in your area is probably running ads all day. And with cost per clicks like this, I bet you most people have ran out of budget after 5 p.m. So if you really only have a little bit of money, you need to be putting it all in the right spots. And it's all going to come down to everything. You need to have the best landing page. You need to have the highest quality score. You need to have a couple keywords you're focused on to be pushing. And then even trying stuff like looking at the times of day, making your ads only available from 5 to 9 p.m. So you're there when other companies don't have, the spend. And so now maybe from those hours of, 5 to whatever p.m., you're going to be able to play in a much higher spot, because now you've saved your budget and you're using it more specifically. So you need to be poking holes. So all that coming together, this is how you can create the best campaign for your personal injury firm. And I'm telling you right now that everything I've explained, you already know. I don't even need to waste my time telling you that this is a full-time job, and you will need an expert if you really want to get these high-value cases. So let me run your Google Ads for you. Click the first link in the description below. And if you have any questions, please go to my website, fill out my contact form. I will just call you on the phone. I'll answer any questions. I'll give you an audit on your account, comment on the video, do whatever you need, but let's start crushing on Google Ads. And this is a very, very valuable video on how you can get ahead and start crushing and turning your Google Ads into a gold mine like everyone else is. So I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Thank you.